I'm Tolulope Adeleru-Balogun. Welcome to Business Edge on News Central. Our headline story: cryptocurrency, myth or genuine money-making venture? Digital currency or cryptocurrencies are focused today. Some have tagged this as the new cash reserve, or rather an alternative to gold. More on this with our guest. And before we finish the show, we'll also touch base with a few stories we're keeping our eyes on with NC4 to watch. Welcome. This is Business Edge. Bitcoin may be worth as much as $146,000 in the long term. This prediction was made by American investment banking giant JP Morgan. The firm believes that cryptocurrency will grow into a popular alternative to growth, or rather to gold. However, analysts have argued that Bitcoin's price volatility needs to drop for institutions to make large allocations. The conversion of Bitcoin and gold volatilities is a multi-year process and suggests that the target is a long-term objective, according to JP Morgan. Bitcoin rallied by 300% to $29,000 in 2020 and extended gains to a new record price of $34,220 in the first 3 days of the new year. The cryptocurrency has gained over 160% in the last 3 months alone, helped along by increased institutional participation. While the crypto community expects the rally to continue, JP Morgan sees signs of speculative mania and believes further big gains towards the region of $50,000 and $100,000 may be unsustainable in the near term. Cryptocurrency exists in many forms such as Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and others. Today, we will focus more on the main traded options such as Bitcoin, which is worth $33,802, Bitcoin Cash worth about $420, Litecoin is worth $158, while Ethereum is worth $1,094. I have Seun Dania, an IT and business consultant, joining me on Business Edge. Seun is also the CEO of Tradefada, a cryptocurrency trading company in Nigeria. Seun, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's been a while, so I'm trying to get used to having in-studio guests. It's been a while. Everything's been technology and Zoom, but it's nice to see another friendly face on set. So let's get into it. Really, at the heart of it, for many people who are not in the crypto industry, in that sector of finance or the markets, what exactly is cryptocurrency?
Cryptocurrency is digital cash, technically. And right now everybody's doing internet banking, but the difference with the cryptocurrencies and the traditional digital banking is everybody is a decentralized platform whereby you and I have access to our money. We are not it's not in the hands of anybody. It's not held in trust with anybody. And it's so cryptocurrency is a combination of cryptography and currency. So it's cryptographically encrypted digital money. So it cannot be counterfeited. It cannot be which other word is immutable. You know, it cannot be edited. It cannot be worked. So everybody, there's trust in it. Everybody, it's based on mining. So the mine is just like gold. So it's like different people all over the world from different places that nobody knows. They all have to solve that mathematical encryption to mine those coins and to process those transactions. So that way it's easier for people to send money from point A to point B without thinking, oh, my bank's network is down or anything. So it's basically like an internet for money. Okay.
So in terms of it being basically a combination of two words and being digital cash, how did cryptocurrency come about? Some of the reports I've read have a dark history with aspects of the dark web, having some players who are involved in some shady activities. Bitcoin rallied by 300% to $29,000 in 2020 and extended gains to a new record price of $34,220 in the first 3 days of the new year. The cryptocurrency has gained over 160% in the last 3 months alone, helped along by increased institutional participation. While the crypto community expects the rally to continue, JP Morgan sees signs of speculative mania and believes further big gains towards the region of $50,000 and $100,000 may be unsustainable in the near term. Cryptocurrency exists in many forms such as Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and others. Today, we will focus more on the main traded options such as Bitcoin, which is worth $33,802, Bitcoin Cash worth about $420, Litecoin is worth $158, while Ethereum is worth $1,094. I have Seun Dania, an IT and business consultant, joining me on Business Edge. Seun is also the CEO of Tradefada, a cryptocurrency trading company in Nigeria. Seun, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's been a while, so I'm trying to get used to having in-studio guests. It's been a while. Everything's been technology and Zoom, but it's nice to see another friendly face on set. So let's get into it. Really, at the heart of it, for many people who are not in the crypto industry, in that sector of finance or the markets, what exactly is cryptocurrency?
Cryptocurrency is digital cash, technically. And right now we have, everybody's doing internet banking, but the difference with the cryptocurrencies and the traditional digital banking is everybody is a decentralized platform whereby you and I have access to our money. We are not it's not in the hands of anybody. It's not held in trust with anybody. And it's so cryptocurrency is a combination of cryptography and currency. So it's cryptographically is encrypted digital money. So it cannot be counterfeited. It cannot be which other word is immutable. You know, it cannot be edited. It cannot be worked. So everybody, there's trust in it. Everybody, it's based on mining. So the mine is just like gold. So it's like different people all over the world from different places that nobody knows. They all have to solve that mathematical encryption to mine those coins and to process those transactions. So that way it's easier for people to send money from point A to point B without thinking, oh, my bank's network is down or anything. So it's basically like an internet for money. Okay.
So in terms of it being basically a combination of two words and being digital cash, how did cryptocurrency come about? Some of the reports I've read have a dark history with aspects of the dark web, having some players who are involved in some shady activities, trying to move money or find money or get access to money without oversight, regulatory oversight from different countries. So where did cryptocurrency really come about?
Okay, so I studied computer engineering. So back in the day, I mean, while I was in university, with the upcoming, when the whole Y2K, the new millennium was coming up, a lot of people were thinking, how would this new world be? Would we still be? Let's take it back a little bit. You know, money has always changed. We've done cowries. People used to trade with swords. People started using coins, and then later gold, silver, and then the paper money, and then of course now starts to change to digital money where people are doing internet banking.
So it's an evolution as well.
Yeah. So people have always been thinking, okay, how would this new world be? So back to the Y2K thing. So, okay, in the new world, everybody thought in the new millennium, the whole world would just boom, everything, flying cars and everything. So people started thinking, okay, how would this new world be? We need to start thinking about a world where money can go from point A to B without having to go through the banks, And then, of course, the monetary system is slightly flawed if people, depends on how you look at it. So everybody started thinking about, different people started thinking about it. And of course, yes, the IT people are always first in. So everybody was thinking, okay, how can this happen? So initially there was this currency called e-gold, which was developed by some guy in the States. So of course, just right in his bedroom, the way Microsoft and the other big guys started. But e-gold was centralized because he was the one who had control of the entire system.
Okay.
He was processing transactions. But he got shut down by the government.
Basically made himself a bank, a financial institution.
Exactly, without consulting the authorities or anything. So he got shut down. Different other people have also come up with that way. So over the years, people started thinking, how can we avert this? Because you lose money when the government shuts you down. And people are thinking, okay, how can we do these things without having to hold the government responsible or having to be under the
watchful
eye of the government. However, so there's this guy or a group of people, nobody knows, there's a pseudo named Satoshi Nakamoto. in 2008, he released the white paper for Bitcoin, explaining how people can transfer money to each other, cryptographically. But cryptocurrencies have been in existence before that.
Okay.
Let's say maybe about early 2003, 2004.
But this sort of consolidated
it
yeah.
and, put out the white paper. A lot of people read it and it made sense. So in 2009, sometime in January, he, processed the first transaction. So it was a case of, okay, you download this software, I can send money to you, you can send money to me. And a lot of people joined that network, and started processing those transactions. And then it was like, okay, well, this is making sense. Other people started looking into it, everybody read it, and people understood that, well, this is different from the traditional digital currencies that had existed, where the government could shut down. In as much as it seems like the government doesn't have any watch over it, cryptocurrencies are actually the most traceable currencies in the world.
Okay, we're going to talk about government's watchfulness and regulations, but let's get to the difference. So earlier on, I did mention there's Bitcoin, there's Bitcoin Cash, there's Litecoin, there's Ethereum, there's Ripple, and there are others. What's the difference, however small it may be, between these types of cryptocurrencies?
Okay, so the difference is based on protocol.
Okay.
So Bitcoin is typically proof of work. So people have to prove that they work. They have to solve that transaction to mine it. It can only be generated through mining.
Okay.
However, people can exchange between themselves. Currently, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in the whole world.
It will never rise,
never go beyond that.
It's
so
always
it's a
make sure that
resource.
that's okay.
It will end. There's nobody's going to discover a new Bitcoin anywhere. So of course, when other people read about it and felt, well, we can always create something else that can compete. Now, like I mentioned, proof of work for Bitcoin is people are mining. You need to have servers. You need to have, it uses CPU, like computational power for you to do this. There's always been the arguments of, well, this requires a lot of energy, requires a lot of power, generates a lot of heat. It's a lot of money. So if you're looking at, climate change and all of that, is necessarily not the best way.
Yeah.
So then came, the discovery. Another group of people created Ethereum, which is based on proof of stake. So it's like, okay, this is whatever you put into it that you can get back. So you have to stake some money to be able to process transactions. So like, okay, well, I'm a miner. Instead of me just having my computer and mining, I can stake some money and then, be able to process transactions for other people.
Okay.
Then comes Litecoin. And the Litecoin is basically a clone of Bitcoin, but it's supposed to be faster because, as the world changes, everybody sees different flaws in that.
In the system that's available. Yeah.
So everybody tries to create their own. Then Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is managed by the community. Like I said, the Satoshi Nakamoto, nobody knows the guy. You just put it out there. So it's managed by the community. Everybody talks about it. And then all the different developers from across the world who are within the Bitcoin community have to reach a consensus to agree what they need to do.
Is there like a village meeting? Is there no? Because if you're saying that all the developers have to reach a consensus, how and when do they do that? Is there a Zoom link sent? Is there a village meeting and they take notes?
The most popular forum is Bitcoin Talk.
Okay.
And there's also Reddit. So people discuss on there. Everybody. If you find a flaw, you send it in and say, oh, this is wrong. I think we need to work on this. And everybody needs to agree. So when you reach a consensus, everybody. So Bitcoin Cash came about the fact that Bitcoin transactions were slow when the prices go up.
Yeah.
The cost of transactions, the mining fees get very high. So Bitcoin Cash wanted to do something else, but everybody didn't agree. So they okay, we will implement our thing and then create a new currency and then
move forward
with it.
Okay. So before we go on a break, I have to ask about the valuation. How does cryptocurrency get its valuation? How does Bitcoin get valued? And you've talked about the community forums now, which help with bringing about different types of cryptocurrencies and having consensus on certain things. But where does the valuation for the cryptocurrency come from?
So the valuation is basically money. The value of money comes from exchange, when we exchange. So
the demand.
So like I mentioned, there's only going to be 21 million. So average economics, demand and supply. Right now, we're in a world of over 7 billion people. So if a lot of people are willing to accept Bitcoin for payment or accept Bitcoin for whatever transaction, if I can send you Bitcoin and you are willing to accept it and send it to somebody else is accepting it, other people's start to buy into it.
Okay.
And because of the finite nature of it, there's a limited resource. So once there's increased demand, once there's an increase in demand, the price will definitely go up. So the value
makes it sound so simple.
It is simple.
You make it sound so simple for a currency that is now worth $30-something thousand. But
Yeah.
we'll get into more of that, and also, of course, talk about the issue around regulation of cryptocurrency on the continent. And how do you get started? That's a question I hope he can answer when we come back from the break. This is Business Edge. Do stay with us. And you are still watching Business Edge. And today I have the CEO of Tradefada, Seun Dania, in the studio with me, taking a look at the cryptocurrency craze. If you were following the news, you'll know that cryptocurrency hit about $34,000 over the weekend. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot of noise about what exactly is going on in the cryptocurrency arena. But we've talked about the background, how it came about, what exactly it is, and what makes it valuable. Seun, let me ask about the fact that we all know Bitcoin. But as we said earlier, there's more than Bitcoin. Why does it seem like the other currencies are not as popular? Because if we're making Bitcoin value at around 34,000, why are the rest of them so far behind in their own valuations?
There are actually some currencies that are worth more than Bitcoin, but then what matters? There's some currencies that are worth more than Bitcoin.
Okay.
But it depends on who's using it.
Okay.
So the communities are smaller, and Bitcoin is more popular because Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, and everybody knows about Bitcoin. Everybody has studied Bitcoin, and basically all the others are offsets of Bitcoin. So I could create my own currency now and say, okay, well, this is going to be Mr. A, Mr. B, Tolu can accept it, I can accept it. I build my own little ecosystem, just like Facebook was trying to do, but the government, shut down or kind of having issues around, interfered. So the prices, those ones also come up, but then who's using it?
Yeah.
So you need a lot of people. You have to gather a lot of people. The whole world, why the dollar has value is because most of the countries are using the dollar.
There's the demand.
There's a demand for the dollar everywhere. The Naira, not so much, it's just, local. So that's why the Naira could always lose value. So that's the same thing that happens with the cryptocurrencies.
Okay. All right, so let's get into something. We spoke off air about how JP Morgan is saying that cryptocurrency could hit over $100,000. And it's interesting to hear that from a JP Morgan and others in the industry who didn't have so much faith, who really sort of sidelined cryptocurrencies when it came about, and now hearing them put out reports and analysis. But what is your estimation? We're at $34,000 over the weekend for Bitcoin. How high do you think it could go? And what warnings would you put in place? Because we saw, I think it was 2018, 2019, how it went so high in a matter of hours, it's wiped out almost all of the same value it had gained. Yeah. So what do you think about that?
So typically, before now, we had a lot of, it was just, individuals. The corporations didn't believe in it or hadn't understood it enough.
Yeah.
So it was just like, Seun has his $1,000, $500, Mr. B. Everybody just buying in, those kind of things. So when you have the whales, so the whales are the people with the big bucks, So when the whales come in, and the whales always have their strategy. So the whales come in and they say, okay, well, I'm buying this amount of Bitcoin and this is what I'm trying to get out of it. And once they get that, they cash out. However, right now might be a bigger problem because now we have bigger institutions with deeper pockets putting their eyes in it and actually investing in it. There's a company called MicroStrategy who probably has bought over 7,000 Bitcoin right now.
Wow.
Even Jack Dorsey of Twitter, he bought when the price was 13K. He bought, that's earlier on in 2020, about June or thereabout. He bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin at that time. So a lot of people are looking, okay, PayPal comes on board. These are companies with a lot of money. Now, nobody knows when they are going to pull out.
I was going to ask, are there not concerns about having these institutional big players getting involved in something that has existed, has worked very well without them, with their own tendencies to protect themselves and pull out large amounts of money?
Yeah, so the good thing is they all don't work together. So if Jack Dorsey's company is Square, if Square is about to pull out, he's not going to tell PayPal. Okay. Right? PayPal is also still acquiring. It's not like he's going to talk to maybe JP Morgan or anybody. So if he's pulling out, There are so many other institutions that are waiting. So there are people right now who have their money are waiting. Okay, this price is too high. Let me wait for it to drop a little bit, and then I'll buy. So there's always there's a demand that's waiting. So I see the price going to way over 100K. But of course, it depends on internet penetration. It's good for the Western world. You know, the advanced countries, they have internet. Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has a computer. Well, not everybody, but most people have computers. Yeah. So in a world of over 7 billion people, and there are only going to be 21 million Bitcoin. So imagine, let's say half of the 7 billion people, 3.5 billion, trying to get one Bitcoin. You know, everybody holding scrambling for one Bitcoin. Yeah, so the price is definitely going to skyrocket. Okay,
but there are warnings that it could also crash at any time. Or what do you think about that?
Yes, it can. It can. So it's just the stock market crashes.
Yes.
Everything has ups and downs.
Everything that goes up
must come down. So even stock markets are fully regulated, but it still crashes at some point. You know, so the days on Wall Street where it's all red, everybody's crying, and you know, so it's pretty much the same thing with Bitcoin.
Okay. Let's get to regulation now. So in August 2018, a report on the states of cryptocurrency regulation across Africa came back with one very obvious conclusion. Most countries did not know what to do. In fact, 21 African countries at that time had made no public stance on cryptocurrency regulation at the time, while only 2 had shared favorable stances about potential regulation. But in what represents a major shift, just last year and late 2019, Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya are now stepping up regulatory plans. For example, in Nigeria, the government has said every virtual crypto assets in the country will be treated as securities, and as such must be registered unless the company or startup proves otherwise. So Seun, what do you think we should be expecting in terms of regulation of cryptocurrency on the continent, specifically looking at Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, the big economies that are moving, and obviously the places where we're seeing a lot of crypto movement and behavior? What should be expected in terms of regulation? Should it, let me even give you apologies, should it even be regulated?
It's by design, so it's not, well, Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies weren't designed to be regulated.
Okay.
Right? However, like I mentioned, they're the most traceable currencies in the whole world. Regulation is necessary. Like you mentioned when we started the program, it's got popular in the dark web. That is, people who are trying to
hide their activities.
Yeah. They don't want to be found by the government. But the normal human beings want some level of protection. That is when the government comes in. We take it back to like 2017. They used to call people did a lot of ICOs, that's initial coin offerings, which is kind of just like IPOs, where people just create coins out of nowhere and then sell to people, you know, sell them a false promise and say, oh, this coin is going to do this coin is for this coin is for that. And then people buy into it expecting that the business will grow. And at the end of the whole day, those guys just take the money and go. And then nobody knows who they are, or you might know who they are, but then how are you going to go after them? And then because it's not regulated, the government is like, well, that's your business. You know, so I believe regulation is very necessary. The Securities and Exchange Commission in America is regulating cryptocurrencies in different states. You can't even trade without having a license. I think only New York currently gives a license. In Nigeria also, our Securities and Exchange Commission has published a framework, and the NITDA, that's the IT Development Agency, they're also coming up with a framework. The regulation is very necessary, especially in the space of those ICOs. However, based on the design, it cannot be 100% regulated because you cannot trace every transaction. You can see everything with Bitcoin, but not all the cryptocurrencies. You know, there are some cryptocurrencies that are developed for stealth, you know, they're supposed to be
able to hide.
Anonymous, to be able to hide, you know. So people, if you decide, all right, I want to regulate Bitcoin, and the people who want to do those shady transactions move to the other cryptocurrency, you don't be able to find anything.
Okay, Seun, there are a lot of questions, and I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what can happen with cryptocurrency. Earlier on, you mentioned how important internet penetration is to the success of it, and here on the continents, we're still working on internet penetration numbers, and also having to look at how we can make use of cryptocurrencies for daily transactions across the continents. But this is the beginning of this conversation. Time won't allow us to go much further. I look forward to having you back because I expect the value to continue, and then also we'll see how the regulations play out as well. My guest has been Seun Dania. He is the CEO of Tradefada, a cryptocurrency trading company in Nigeria. You can find out more about them, of course. It's a simple thing, just Google. But we will have him back to have more conversation on cryptocurrencies. Now, before we wrap things up, let's get straight into NC4 to watch. Here are a few stories we're keeping our eyes on. We start with a cryptocurrency. Ripple's cryptocurrency has once again lost its place as the fourth largest cryptocurrency, with lawsuits mounting against Ripple after one of its major investors followed the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in filing a complaint against the project. Tetragon, one of the lead investors in a $200 million Series C funding round for Ripple in 2019, filed a complaint against the firm. The investment company claims it is seeking to enforce its contractual right to require Ripple to redeem Series C preferred stock held by Tetragon. Moving on from there, Nigerian carrier Azman Air is seeking to acquire a second Airbus A340 aircraft to join its fleet. As part of the airline's 2021 expansion plan, the aircraft would allow it to launch international services to destinations such as Dubai. Total has suspended all construction work at its LNG project at the Afungi Peninsula in Cabo Delgado. And this follows a spate of violent incidents close to the LNG sites, which is related to the insurgency in the province. The latest incident took place on the 1st of January with an exchange of gunfire between government troops and suspected members of the insurgency in a village built by the Total-led LNG project to resettle displaced local people. And finally, Kenya's mobile phone operator Safaricom has suspended plans for the launch of its fifth-generation 5G mobile internet service. The CEO recently said that there is no plan to launch the 5G network in the short term, and that the telco's immediate plan is to convert millions of 2G and 3G users to 4G. That's it on this edition of Business Edge. Follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Head to our website and download our mobile app on Play Store and iOS. Until next time, I'm Tolulope Adeleru-Balogun. Have a good day.